Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And what problem we can solve with AI? I'm talking about big problem because now we have this old application where you can just code with writing, right?
Mhm.
Lovable or base 44. And there are like a lot of different kind of problems on the planet that we can try to solve with creating this kind of application, not only, to sell more or to put some kind of new packaging, but to solve really big problems with that.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
we are recording anyway. So, hello, how are you, Hayley, today? Thank you for coming here. Please introduce yourself a little bit before we
Well,
jump into AI magic.
thanks for having me, Alex. I am Hayley Brown, and I run a few businesses now. The main business, the one that drives everything else, is allinoneapp.com. We started as an agency and implementing AI, mostly automation and then AI.
I'm your customer. I'm coming to you to buy your app. Tell me, like, take me for the journey, what I can create to generate leads, to check a demand, everything what I need to make my first $10,000 with my customers. So
So
how your app will help me?
it's basically built for anybody to use it who's got a running legitimate business. And so you would then put your website in, it would scrape the website and pre-fill the brand, which then is pulled into a company brain. That's all the knowledge, all of the skills to do with your company, which can be refined. Then the agents all have the same context around your company within minutes of onboarding, because a lot of the software I've used over the last 15 years takes weeks to get onboarded. So I wanted to solve that problem. Um, and then what we did is we reverse engineered a big company turning over billions, and we segmented that out into departments. So revenue, growth and marketing, operations and delivery, intelligence and strategy, HR and partnerships, governance and security, and a CEO office. Within those departments is individual agents who all have different roles. But again, they all have the same context around your business because you've done the onboarding, it's done the scraping, and it's pre-filled everything in for you using AI. So that that
Okay.
basically then you can go into any of your agents. So let's say we give them names because people like to relate with names rather than just the robot that does sales. So Sam is the head of sales. You can ask Sam to work on a schedule. You can configure Sam to have a certain type of persona. Um, there's reactive, proactive, autonomous, or supervised work that the agents can do. It's very, very configurable
And
so
tell
that
people, tell people what are agents.
agents are essentially humans that replace you on a computer. So these agents, they are the keyboard and the mouse. You no longer are needed to go
Yeah.
ahead and do repeated tasks like bookkeeping or lead generation or even sales to a certain extent. I do still believe there needs to be a human element within the sales department, but in terms of
Not on every
maybe
level, not in every sales, I would
not
say.
not not
Yeah.
especially not for e-commerce. E-commerce is great for AI agent sales.
And
How
for support, now when you have a good AI, a support agent can solve up to 80% of the people question. For example, I don't know if you know a
exactly.
platform Whoop, but in my opinion, at some point I wasn't sure if this is still AI or a human. They did so good job. So
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
got a
whoa.
call. I got a call off AWS, and I'm not joking. I was really shocked. So I was having a conversation with this AI agent the whole time, thought it was a person. It was laughing. I was interrupting. It was stopping. And I was like, how did they do this?
What's
So then
going on here, right?
yeah, so then I started exploring the AI voice, which is our next phase to build that into the software as well.
Okay, so 3 points for people even to come to you because this software is addressing a lot, but for example, is not for me as I'm working for myself, right? I can
Mm,
still, once I will be growing, I can still use your software, but I don't need it now. Even though
so
maybe I can start needing it soon when I will be tired with manual accounting and bookkeepings and everything.
there's the key word. You're tired of doing it. So if you don't want to do these boring things anymore, then it is the perfect software for you. So
But then you have to give access to, I mean, then actually we have to look into a people environment, infrastructure, what platform they are using, because usually coaches are not using one solution for invoice, not only Stripe, but they use merchant of record, they use resellers, they do manual invoicing.
we didn't want to bear costs of somebody who doesn't use AI responsibly. So if they're just letting their agents do whatever they want on our on our time and money, then we decided to make
So
it a
it's
bring your
paid,
own kit.
it is paid as use, right? We have
So
a,
they pay, so if you let me finish, they pay for the framework and then they bring their own API key. So
okay.
whichever language model they want to use, the framework and the prompting for the agents is all the same behind the scenes. But they bear the cost of the token usage. And inside the software, they can always see how many tokens they're actually using. So they can see which agents are using how many tokens and they can reduce and edit that as they go along. And this is the way the world's going to be. Recruitment is dying, and AI agent management is the next wave of recruitment, I would say. Learning how to configure these bots so that they actually do the thing that you want them to do. Um, so then we basically made it so that people didn't have to go out and look for a lead generator. They don't have to go out and look for a bookkeeper or a head of marketing or, you know, a PR person to go and scrape the entire of YouTube, find the best people for me that I can go on podcasts with. And then there's just so
Hello,
many agents. Huh?
hello, best people for podcast.
Yes, yes, best people podcast. So there's loads of ways you could run your business using AI, but we wanted to put it all in one, like an all-in-one platform.
Yeah.
Um, and going back to the tools that you said, so like coaches, usually they
Yes,
have
but
to
you didn't tell me the entry points for companies before they come to you. How many employees, how many revenue, or minimal
anyone
environment
any
requirements?
anyone could use it because it's already ready with 26 pre-built agents, and so you can pick which agents you want to turn on or off, and then you can add your own agents in there as well if you wanted to. So if you had 100 people in your business, one of these agents can probably do the same job as seven of those people in that company because it's just able to do that work 24/7. It's not going to go on holiday. It's not going to have a cup of coffee in the middle of the day. It's just doing what you've asked it to do explicitly. And then if you wanted to add an extra one to share the workload, maybe have a female speak to men and a man speak to females, like on the voice side, you could do that if you wanted to and have them different names. But anybody could use it. We made it a price point where it was affordable. So not only that, we had it so agencies can help businesses manage their clients so they can have unlimited sub accounts for one set price every month. So if you a bit like you told me earlier, you want to have these different types of businesses, but then again, you still don't want to have all this software and all these things running these multiple businesses. The same software in the same platform can achieve that for you. So whether you're on your own, whether you've got 100 people, it doesn't really matter. It's built for brand intake, agents off and running straight away as soon as possible. Because
So
that's the
somebody starting consulting business, right? Let's
Mhm.
say that AI will help them define the offer, check maybe gaps in the market. Do you have this agent, or this will be addressed by some other AI?
Yeah, so in the growth and marketing, we've got head of marketing, Q&A and reputation, events and speaking, and press and media relations. Those are the four agents in there up to
So
now.
so the agent will ask you, for the people who doesn't know how does it work, the agent will ask you question to define your strong side, to define your offer, if it's like a high ticket or product, and then check the real market demand. Because I saw a lot of solution in the market for digital product, even I'm creating digital product myself,
Hmm.
and they are offering checking the real demand of the market. And I started to dig with Cloud. Hey, Cloud, I said, let's check if they're, let's say, I don't want to use that word, if this is really, 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 really demand, or this is just AI assessment of the demand, because we are talking about completely different things, right?
Hmm.
And majority of these companies who are selling solution that their product will check the real demand, they are actually not checking the real demand. They are not checking, how many people ask that question, how many percentage of the people have this problem. So this is the real demand, right? So
Yeah.
the question if your solution is actually checking the real demand. That is usually completely, unfortunately, not the one that is offered
Yeah. So
to market right now.
the best
Because you
way
would have to
really,
use many tools actually to check this real demand, even by with the Reddit.
maybe two tools, probably Curse browser and an LLM, and then get that or a runtime, which is something like OpenClaw, Hermes, Quantum
What would
Claw
you
we built.
advise to people who want, check the real demand fast? Go to your software or to use some additional tools or tool?
Both. I would do both. It's all part of being due diligent. You should always do your due diligence and your own research outside of a language model. I mean, we're all little mini language models, really, aren't we? Because you input a language, you process it, and then you output. We're all LLMs, is how I like to look at it. So
Or
it's
even
like,
creating, or even create, I will tell because I will forget, or even creating the landing page with AI in few minutes and run very low, cheap, even $7 ads and just to gather people emails. So if the people, I heard this quote, if the people are not interested to give you their email, they will not give their credit card. So you can verify this as well in the practice.
yeah, like a waiting list. I think who's the Daniel Priestley does that quite a lot. He does the scorecard guy. He'll sort of generate an idea and then dangle it in front of a market to see if there actually is a demand for it. And um, it's a really good idea. But are people having pain points? Are they asking these questions? Are they in Facebook groups? Are they in Reddit,
Yeah.
Quora? If you're marketing to mums, selling baby bottles in an e-commerce store, is there a problem with the current baby bottle design? Go into a forum and ask, but you can, if your prompt is good enough and your agent's well trained, there's no problem with you installing a browser and getting the vision and getting it to do that for you. But you've just got to be really clear on what you want it to do, what type of research, what are you bringing back to me that's going to be of any value to tell me to push this idea? Um, and that's basically what I would do. I'd say a little bit of both. And the better you get at prompting, the better you get at training these agents, the less work you actually have to do, manual work. Because as I say, it is the keyboard and it is the mouse now, so you really don't need to. Or you can talk to it. I want you to go and do this on these websites as you would in the same thought process. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay, so nowadays social media is a must, a little bit bigger must than in the past because when I was working, I even didn't have to use the social media. So, is your software also addressing a real creation and many chat functionalities to help people deal with Instagram and incoming messages, or this
So
can be integrated?
we have a separate software for this called talktomyads.com, and we built an MCP so the agent can use that tool to
Yeah.
access because it's quite a big software.
Yeah, many
Um,
chat.
no talktomyads.com. So we automated ads, paid ads, organic social media, and AI reporting as well, and also blog detection. So it would take the blog from your website, turn it into a social media post, and then post it out LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram for now. Um, so we've been working on that for quite some time, like 18 months. We wanted to make it really interactive. If people didn't want to go down the full rabbit hole of having a full AI agent team, and they just wanted it for that department, which is quite an important department in any business. We created that very piece of software just for that reason. So then in terms of plugging in the agents, that's where the MCP comes in, which is a model context protocol. It just allows the agents to be able to access APIs in a controlled environment, and gives it tools to, go and execute different types of tasks within the Facebook platform or LinkedIn or, you know, so that's a separate one. And then we did exactly the same with SEO autopilot.ai.com. So like I said earlier, we productized all of our services, created MCPs on top of them to have our agents that we build access those pieces of softwares. Because SEO is huge, ads is huge, like huge departments. We just segmented them off and used them as MCPs.
Yeah, but in the language more of customers, because um, in the end of the day, it's about what this product is solving for them. So, okay,
Mhm.
they have a blog, and then the software can change into a content for YouTube. So, is it like an avatar, their avatar, or do they still have to record, or is it just pictures? What is the what is like a final result? I have a blog or I have a digital product, and what the application can do for me in terms of what kind of content is the software is posting on their own, and what is happening after somebody is submitting the blog, and what is happening if somebody doesn't have a blog.
If they don't have a blog, they can just input their brand, input some reference images, their whole style, the way they want it to sound, the way they want hashtags, the topics they want to hit on, the type of post, whether it's engagement or it's educational, or it's a fun post, that they can do that without a blog. We just added the blog detector as a nice touch. If you do have a blog, put the webhook, send it
Or
into.
anything like, or maybe YouTube or any point of reference, right? That you can submit.
Yeah, essentially, it's just going to wrap that into a social media style post with
Yeah.
an image. And then because we don't like manual work over here, we like to automate absolutely everything we can get our hands on. Um, we we then we put a scheduler, an automated scheduler in, so you could have like 5 posts going out a day without even ever looking at your Facebook page.
Okay, last question about your software, and then we can go to general question, more
Mhm.
philosophical.
Yeah.
So now it's very modern, like every coach wants to have their own AI. So the people don't have to talk to them, they can just ask their AI, blah, 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 and they can receive answer.
Mhm.
And let's say that the person will submit, like I have like hundreds of reels, I have my ebooks, I have a lot of things I wrote over like last years, and I will submit all my work. Is it possible, or maybe in the future, that I will be able to have my AI based on that thanks to your tool, or this needs to be done separately?
It definitely, because we built it so you can do exactly that. So it's got built-in vector storage, which in opposed to like a spreadsheet with individual squares and the AI is trying to find the right thing. The vector storage is embedded, so it makes it a lot easier for the AI to recall. And not only that, ours is so fast because we built a knowledge graph. We actually did this open source in Quantum Claw, which is a free runtime on GitHub. Anybody can use it. And with the knowledge graph, if you think when a human is asked a question, like we are a mini LLM, and when you're asked a question, and let me say, like, if I asked you to, how do you drive a car? Or when is your mother's birthday? What's the favorite gift that your granddad gave you when you were a child? These types of answers are recalled from different types of pockets of memory in your brain. So you're able to rapidly recall of that because your brain is set into schemas. And so the knowledge graph, when we orchestrated the layer on top of the prompt, well, sorry, below the prompt, that allows the AI to very rapidly recall and answer questions and in an accurate way, as opposed to just typing a question into Claude and then getting a huge answer and just reading through and going, oh yeah, that can relate to that. That sounds good. Actually, is it right? Is it concise? Is it quick enough for me to digest? Not always. So we made the software like that based on the runtime that we built as well. We just took elements of it, what works, what doesn't work, and put it into a productized service. Um, so
So,
yeah.
so if the coach would like, so putting the technological talk in the shortcut, if the
Mhm.
coach would love to have their own AI, they can come to your company and you can build for them.
Yeah, we've done that a few times, for different, not just coaches either.
And how
Just
long does it take? Because I see coaches who are waiting for their AI. They said, "Oh, it is being built," and I don't think this process should be long. For example, the new coach will come to you, and I will come to you, and I will say, "Hey, help me build my AI, Alex AI, for my customers to ask us any question." How long it would take?
as long as it would take for you to drop everything into a Google Drive.
Okay, or to give you link if it's online.
Well, we kind of make our clients go into a storage that they know and they're aware of, like a Google Drive. We wouldn't ask them to go, oh, can you go into Quadrant or Pinecone and start ingesting information because they'll go, what are you talking about? It's never going to get done. And some agencies actually do that, so they're probably going to be waiting for ages. And a lot of coaches have ADHD, so you're always having to kick them up the arse and get this done, put that in
And
there.
testing, and then we have to test this if it's already sufficient, right?
Yeah, so the build is not really the thing that takes the time. It's actually the testing. But
Uh,
if the knowledge graph is correct and everything's placed where it needs to go, it becomes a lot quicker. And because we already have the framework, we can build them quite quickly. But it's down to the business owner and if they're happy to actually launch it. And the problem is with
uh,
business owners, they don't launch stuff, they pay for it, and then they don't end up launching it because they're too nervous of things going wrong. Well, sorry, but sometimes things do go wrong, and you just have to go in and keep training and keep fixing it.
I
You're
mean,
never going to
AI
get
needs
perfect.
training. AI needs training. Like, for example, I don't know. I had a conversation with Cloud. For example, I was in shock. I created my first digital product, and then I asked Cloud, create me landing page, text for this platform, text for this platform, and I went to take a shower. I came back, everything was done. The most beautiful, like a website I ever seen. And then you can just copy this, go to System, paste, and it's done. And it's done. And it's done. And like I had to take cold shower literally after I saw this. So, and then I was working on different thing, and I asked Cloud to help me edit pictures or video, and the Cloud didn't know what is Nano Banana, and Cloud didn't know there is like a possibility to integrate with Higgsfield, I think Higgsfield software, Higgsfield. And I said, how come you don't know Higgsfield or Nano Banana? He said, I know this is embarrassing. So still, this is AI. You need to be aware that in a single conversation or chat, I don't know even how to explain. I don't know even how to think about it. Like, because still they might missing things. We are
Yeah.
not at the point where AI is working almost like Google. It's not there yet, in my opinion.
No, and it depends how your system prompt, your project prompts, user prompts, and how those prompts are layered and the information that you actually give it. I wouldn't just plug Claude into my business and go run it. that it needs to be segmented out into mini brains, sub-agents that have specific tasks and they have specific
Specialized, they're
access.
specialized. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just asking general questions and, create me some lyrics for a new song. Well, it's great for that. Like
Mm,
creative ideations, really good. But for actual, you know, to do something like Claude Code, for example, is specifically programmed
yes.
to code. But the general language model is just it's only going to capture some of the context from previous conversations, which
Yeah.
then might fill up the context window. So then it forgets to go and search Higgs field, and then it says it doesn't know what it is because you haven't given it the room to even go and look at it or give it the information to do it. So that's where, yeah, that's where people not really understanding it. But when we get to maybe 2027, it might be a totally different ball
Reality, it's
game.
going so fast. Like a few years ago, we didn't know what is chat GPT. Then we didn't know about creating images, PDFs. Now we have everything. And now we have Gemini Omni. Create anything from everything. Is that correct? Yeah, create anything from everything.
Mhm.
And this is like mind blowing for me, like mind blowing for me. Even
Mhm.
working so many years with a different kind of software, like this is a completely new level. And
Mhm.
okay, so in the shortcut, the biggest benefits of AI for you in a
The
normal everyday life.
the biggest benefits, I mean, save me a fortune in time, resources, especially, with consolidating all of the software. I think we were using 47 pieces of software at one point,
Or even
and
more.
now maybe more, yeah, and now we're down to like nine, like major main ones that we use. It's the team, I had some great people working with us last year, but because they weren't hungry and they weren't thirsty enough to go and ask questions and do their own job inside of an AI environment, which is where we're going, I felt like I was dragging them. And it got really I got burnt out over it, so I had to change decisions. I made some decisions, whereas a few years ago, I mean, I've had five businesses. This is the fifth business that I've had. And years ago, you would just put up with that and you would keep recruiting, you keep looking for the right person, keep
I mean,
training,
because
recruit, train.
I will stop you because it's everything about the people. I saw two the same people to the same market, and one is doing millions dollar revenue, and another one is not doing anything. It's always about, in my feeling, what differentiates people who are successful is their curiosity. If you have your mind to find a solution, to find the answer, to find the root, and you dig in until it's found and solved, then you have the right people. It's just about, type of the energy and their motivation. If there are people who are not ready to dig in and sometimes we search for 20, 30 hours to solve the thing, they will not solve it.
No,
So that's it.
exactly. And they ask it, people, they want a job and they would then they would say they could do all these things and then they would ask you how to do that. And it'd be like, no, but now we're both doing it. And now I'm still paying you to do
And
the
you still
thing.
teach them and you
Uh,
use it still your time.
Yeah, but when you told me in the beginning that you could do X, Y, and Z, and now we're here, now it's time to shake hands and say goodbye because this isn't the place for you. We're really wanting to use this new technology. We want to make the most of it. We want to keep on top, bleeding edge, all of the time, and having the best tools for our clients. And if you're not using them as part of the business, we
Okay.
can't carry on working together and I will replace you with AI because I can, because I've sat for hours and hours and hours and hours and learned exactly how to do that. So, you know,
So
That has been one of the
what is still benefit having people and not AI? Because now we are going to the root. We were talking about intuition, like so
Mhm.
why would you choose, for example, working with a human, not with AI?
So the the best humans that I work with, they push back, they challenge and
They
they
challenge AI even.
even in me, and they're not just yes men, and they have um, they expand on the ideas that they'll ideate with the AI, and I love those people that like go back to what you said about curiosity.
Yeah.
I 100% believe the most curious people, they make the most money and they have the best relationships because they really are interested in more and more about whatever their obsession is, and
And there's
people.
like a feeling, there is a better solution. That's why I didn't jump right away to use 20 apps because I felt this cannot be like this. We are here and the software needs to do things seamlessly, autonomously. Like it must be easy. Not I use Descript, I use Omni, I use, I don't know, Hexfield, I use Manus. It needs to be easy, right? So I said, no, I will wait research. And the answer came, right? It's like
Mhm.
sometimes it's like, following the feeling to find the right solution and dig in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this Omni looks really good, with the
It's looking good. Yeah, I like it
mm,
a lot. Yeah. I
it's
cannot
it's
wait to
like,
test it.
I know, with so it's only just come out, isn't it? So there's this thing happening in the industry with the big three, there's Google, ChatGPT, and Anthropic. Well, there's DeepSeek as well, but we're talking about like Western civilization. Those are the big three, and they're not ever going to stop trying to outdo each other. And so for us, it's a
It's
case of
good.
us trying to keep up. You know, we're just trying to keep up with it, and then thinking, well, what was I doing in the business that used to take X amount of time and cost X amount of money that I can now look at this tool and think, is it going to benefit and replace those things in an efficient way? Or is it not there yet? Can we have like a couple of hours on it and then decide and then maybe go and revisit that on a Sunday in a couple of weeks and when they've done a bit more on it, you know?
So
So we kind of go through these cycles with these different types of updates, and like Opus 7, 4.7, when that came out, I was like, nobody speak to me. I'm busy. I'm testing this out. I want to ask it the same questions I've asked all the other models, and I want to see the difference and like which am I using for what. There's so many projects running on a previous model that I now need to go and figure out how I'm going to reconfigure that based on the update that these big three have had. And then, yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. It's so interesting. I never get bored of it, ever. I just never
I mean,
get bored.
you can get bored because like every man is something different. What just came to me recently that AI is not yet on the level of the multi-level up way of thinking like we human can, analyze data. I do believe there are very powerful BI, business intelligence engines that can compare multi-levels data, but the AI that is accessible for public is not, in my feeling, there yet.
Until it
It's
starts
not
to
the most
live,
powerful one yet.
until it starts to live within the Wi-Fi. Because this is what we were talking. You mentioned something about, about the monkey where it used a tool
Oh,
on
yes,
another
yes,
side
yes,
of the
yes.
world. That at that point, when AI lives inside the waves of the
Yes.
Wi-Fi, we are done for. Like that's it at that point. We're done.
Yeah,
That is beach time at that point.
maybe I will talk about this experiment because we don't know if we are inside the matrix because we currently see a lot of bugs in the reality. You probably had the feeling this building wasn't here, but it's here, but I feel it wasn't here. And then you don't know in the end if you just don't remember or some timeline has changed. We will never know if it's true or not. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And about the monkeying, so there was a research that monkey on one continent, they were proposed to use certain tool. I don't know details. They started to use certain tools for everyday, finding food or eating that food. And at the same time, monkey on a completely different continents and they don't have any communication, right? Started to use the same tool in the same way.
Hmm.
So it would mean that somehow they energetically, telepathically communicate with each other. And I do agree because I do believe that people are telepathically connected with each other. I even have a situation, I think about something and it's pop up in my email. I had a situation, I almost saw somebody's writing an email and then I received that email. So we are connected to this point, with other human. And when you think about somebody's calling. So this is the same way. Like people are doing viewing, remote
Hmm.
viewing, like in the army or even in everyday life. So they can go with their mind to the places and describe the places so accurately that 20 people check the same localization and they have the same picture, the same vision. And how is it possible?
Mm.
How can we
Definitely.
explain it? It means that we are much more powerful than we think we are.
Have you seen this? Do you know anything about the split line theory? Have you heard of this?
Like a parallel universe and timeline shifting. But please explain me what you are talking about now.
So this one has baffled scientists for years, and they basically put a board with two lines in it. And when they observed it with a camera on the wall, there was two lines through the light coming through, so the atoms acted in a certain way when they were being observed. When it wasn't
Oh
being
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
observed,
know that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it,
Yes, yes. Now I
yes.
remember.
So is it because you can only perceive something as far as you can observe
That
it.
yeah.
And so like a video game, for example, if you're playing on San Andreas or The Witcher or whatever, and you go around a corner in the game, then the world renders only as you turn around the corner.
Yes.
So this whole concept of the brain waves and the collective consciousness could it could essentially be we are living in a matrix. It would be very most likely, like, of all of the theories, it's probably the most likely one that we do live
Or
in a
we are
simulation.
simply like telepathically connected. That's all. We have our human cloud. We are telepathically, energetically
And
connected.
antennas, human antennas.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, I know there is some weird quantum entanglements,
Yeah,
like
I was watching YouTube for last few days about it. So yeah, including Philip K. Dick, a science fiction writer. My parents has a whole library or his book, and I remember my father once said, "Alex, what used to be in the books as science fiction now is a reality." So the
hmm the time travelers, they knew. So yeah, I do find it a really interesting topic to explore. But sometimes you can drive yourself mad with it as well because you just want to know.
like a
And the
black
cu
hole.
Yes, and like the curiosity that's there with me is this is something that I think about all the time and from being very small. But not everybody is open to these thoughts. You talk to some people about these things and they just think you're insane. And but they
But
make
it's
for a
about
really interesting
practical
conversation.
benefits. For me, spirituality is a tool to change a reality. Like I used not to believe in manifestation, but then I started, to see. For example, I wrote a letter before I was searching an apartment with every function in this apartment I'm sitting, including color of the furniture, including there is like a pool, there is an office, and there was no logical possibility for me to finding place for this money in this place. It's not possible. But I would
Mm,
read this letter for 30 days and feel it. And now I'm sitting and I had this letter. And I wrote this letter before I came to this country to find this place. And this place was not even available for rent. I was just following my intuition, talked to everyone, and they said, and I asked, do you have something more lighter? And they said, yeah, my sister is thinking about renting this place, but it's not ready. But they made it ready. And then
mm.
how is it possible?
Hmm.
How is this possible? I wrote everything that is here in this place, including type of the windows, type of the sound I hear, and it's here.
I think
And
subconsciously you make very small, minor steps towards the thing that
I
you
did
want.
steps too, of course.
Yeah, and leaps sometimes, like sometimes you've got an ultimatum and you think if I don't do this, there's no way I'm gonna get this, or if I do it, there's a tiny chance that I might, but at least I tried, and I'm not gonna regret the fact that I didn't try, or having the confidence to ask people questions, approaching somebody,
And sounds
like you,
crazy, sound crazy sometimes.
yeah, yeah,
You know how many
and
people told me that I should stop, I will never find it. But this is another first about the spirituality is about for me is the most crazy thing that you can create a different timeline and it change past, present, and future. I know we are talking like woo woo, but Brian Scott, I don't know if you know Brian Scott, he wrote
mm,
books about it. That at some point you can imagine yourself like going to the past and changing the future or going to the future and have the all the downloads and information you need from the future. So this is something where we not know if it's real or not, but why not to try? The same like with heaven. Why not to try to be good to go to heaven?
yeah, that's a good way to put it, I would say. Um, so yeah, I mean, what's the next what question I
Okay,
want
next
to ask you?
question. It was spirituality in the practice. We can do another episode about this. Another question. What people can create now? You are talking to the person who is not in AI. What people can create now with AI? Because as I said, people don't know about landing page or PDFs that and they are beautiful.
So,
I would-
just
You
as
meet
a
a person, regular person, not a
mhm,
software tech person, what they can
yeah,
create in AI now, and
just for a
how
normal.
that can help them earn money.
So just like a normal human, like if they've got a piece of pillar content, it's done well in the past, or even if they've done a really good sales call, for example, and they've closed a massive deal, or they're something they're proud of, like a 20 minute video of like a podcast for like something like what we're doing now, and just let our AI just fan that out, chop it up, and then create more of what you've already got using things like, Opus, Submagic, these tools, like upload a video, press a button, and it just comes out the other side. So that something like that, uh, you can create something you already have with AI and create multiple of the same thing, which would then,
Like to
let's say,
upload ebook. For example, somebody has their ebook like
yeah.
me, and then the AI can create all the content around or the website around and a whole campaign probably around.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amplifying what you've
But
already
if you
got.
have nothing, like for example, you have a person who needs to earn money and they don't want to go back to their job, and okay, they need money and they have AI, what they can do? The first it would be create some digital product. What else?
So pick a boring business, like a local business that already has customers. They don't know much about AI because they're so busy serving their customers. Salons, plumbers, electricians, really local,
Yeah,
small businesses. And this is me just talking, just starting a business, not now, but when,
already
when we
established businesses.
yeah, but if you're skint, you've just left your job, you've got £10 in the bank, the first thing that you would do is find a list of local businesses with existing
Or
customers.
even go there.
Yeah, even go there if you dare,
Yeah,
like if you want to, bring them up or say, hi, can I come and see you? Let them know that you come in at least, because we live in
I
a
would
day
just
and
go there. When I was in London, I was working in London. I would just go from place to place and ask if
I
they can employ me.
I'm like that as well. But the higher up you get with enterprise businesses, the busier businesses that you deal with, they don't appreciate that
You can do
type of
both.
intrusion, like they just want to know that you come in. But if a man in a garage fixing a car is probably grateful for you to come in for a chat, you know. But somebody who's running a 10 million pound business is going to be like, why haven't you booked an appointment with me? So there's different, judge it for yourself. But if you're really skint, somebody can afford to give you £250 dollars a month to go
Or
and
even
build them a
find the local
system.
businesses without website. This is what came to me. Even find local
Yeah,
businesses because I see so many businesses, they don't even have a website or the booking system. So the most simple thing you can figure it out. Hey, you don't have website. It would help your customer to book meetings and look more
I mean,
professional,
I
blah, blah, blah.
I'm not going to charge £250 for a website ever, but or a booking system. However, there is, if you get on with somebody well, there's different ways to do deals with people, so you
Wait,
don't
why
have
would
to.
you why would you not charge 250 for a website? More like people, do you know that people charge 500, 1,000 uh, for creating website in AI for somebody?
5 grand minimum, like
Yeah.
minimum, because of all the things that go into it, the SEO, the framework, everything that goes, and the policies, all of it is not worth it's not worth my time
No,
to
no,
do
it
that for
needs to be a little
250.
bit more, yeah.
Oh, 100%, but we wouldn't at all in one, we would not charge anything less than 5 grand for a site. But that's just because we're going to do it properly. But the thing is, a salon owner or a plumber, if we're going really low level, someone just starting out, they've got £10 in the bank, they've never really done sales before, they want to do AI and they want to sell people AI, because everybody wants to do that now, but hardly anybody's got any experience in selling. And so, how are you supposed to even train an AI to sell if you can't sell and you've got no experience in selling? So, the right thing to do would just be talk to people, find out what they need, what
Mm.
is their pain points, and then look at how can AI
So you
take
can
that
solve it,
person's
yeah.
pain, yeah, and at the right price point. Even you could do deals with people, like I said, you don't have to charge them £250 to build out a couple of small workflows, for example, with an AI there. You could potentially say to them, look, I'm going to charge you a lower price point, but for the next 6 months, I want 15% of all the leads that I've generated, for example, and do it that way. So you now got a vested
I saw
interest in their
partnership
business.
programs like this. I saw partnership programs like this. Yeah,
We
yeah,
we
yeah.
we do it all of the time. It just depends on that business. Like e-commerce, absolutely no problem doing that type of deal with those businesses.
Especially when you
Um,
have launch campaign because you can track the leads like very accurately.
exactly that. And I'm a massive data fan, so because people lie, but data doesn't lie. So if I've got control of the ads,
Yeah.
and I can see everything from my side, I'm more than happy to do a deal like that. But then the skill comes with these people. They might have just left a job, um, and they've got the
And
ten pound.
you don't know much about AI. We are talking about the people who don't know how AI is working because creating agents, creating automatization workflow. This is a little bit more high level, but creating like
Yeah.
a simple product maybe
So
with the
so the
AI.
pain
This sounds
point
better.
So the pain point is essentially the goal that you're trying to achieve and solve. So the goal would be, for example, salon owner, I don't have that many clients, and the ones that I do, they don't come back. There's a retention issue or whatever that might be. And then you, as a person who doesn't really know that much about AI, your job is now to go and research how to reverse engineer to achieve that goal as quickly as possible. That's it, and that is how your prompt would even start. I've met this potential client. They have this problem. How is the quickest way we can reverse engineer to get to this goal as quickly as possible? That's how I would, if I was brand new, I would go into a chat model and speak to it like that. Not like do this for me and do that for me. Let's explore the options for what's right for this person and how we fit in to implement and consult, and then it becomes a learning curve of like, right now, how do we layer and build this AI that's going to go into that business and fit in there? But that you can't do that stage without first reverse engineering the end goal and how to solve that. So it's about being a solution finder, that you can either have a million problems and loads of excuses not to do something, or you could go and have one excuse to go and do it. And
And
really,
try.
again, back to the curiosity, isn't it? Like how, why? It's asking these why questions and this how do we do this? Like what tools do we use? How do we systemize it? How do we automate? How do we bring it all together? And that's kind of what I've always been good at is operationally going systematically, step by step, how do we do this backwards, and it's not always linear, so it's not always one thing after the other, especially when dealing with AI. Automations are easier because it's easy to go, this happens, and that happens, and that happens, and that happens. But when you diverge with the AI, there's multiple things that can happen off the edge of that. So first, people should learn automation before AI. I would say, because those are the things that move the needles in businesses. Those are the things that really free up time and really only implement the AI when you want to replace the human element of it. Because, you've got admins in offices and they just do the same thing over and over again every day. And that is a case of automation. There's no AI needed. You
And
don't
now
even
we are
need it.
seeing like big companies are like getting rid of thousands of people.
Yeah, because their whole jobs can be automated. Like if you put a software in their PCs in an office for a week and recorded and tracked every single thing that they did, guaranteed 70% of their time is wasted fucking about not doing the work that they're supposed to be doing, to put it bluntly. So I know that working with hundreds of businesses now that we really do have to start with the automation, and instead of people get too excited and caught up in the word AI, we build with automation first and then we implement AI. We just use the AI to build the automation. It can print out automations for you and it can map out the process and then build the entire thing for you. So there's so much stuff that people don't know because they don't ask why, and they have this learned helplessness of like, oh, I didn't know that. Well, start asking, start asking the questions. So yeah, that's with that
So,
one. That's
so
my idea for fast cash anyway. Going from £10 in the bank to getting your first client. I would really go for boring businesses with existing customers. They're rushed off their feet. Reverse engineer, automate first, and then use AI.
what I would do as a salesperson, I would go or to call or to go even in person. I was working as a sales representative. I really enjoyed going to different offices without even calling before. So maybe this prepared me for another journeys. So I would prepare five more simple things I can propose these businesses that is easy for me to do. So I would probably propose them creating a website, creating a booking system because there are a lot of solutions for this, creating a content for them, or creating videos, reels, or establishing and launching a marketing campaign. And I would also prepare five questions how I can ask about their pain points. So to make things very easy. And I would actually have this written on the paper, not to feel stressed or nervous. This is how I used to have my first meetings. Doesn't matter if it was CRM or like ERP or like a pencil. So I would always have the basic questions to get to know their problems. And then
Mm,
I would have another card with this five solution I am able to offer. And this is how I would start. I would
mhm,
start and following my intuition by following what kind of businesses can be energetically aligned. This is like an alpha scanning method that Mind Wally founder is also using. The method is called Silva method. I used to do it all my life, but I didn't know it has even a name. And then I would also offer people who want to create something and they have some kind of knowledge, some kind of their unique expertise to create a book, to create a course, and to use AI just to, create a faceless or with a face and just to start posting. Like my first digital product sold overnight. It was my most happy money. I don't know, it was 9 USD or something, 9 USD ever.
Hmm.
That feeling. So I would just try and then, to get to know how to make it better, how to correct the product and not to expect it can be good at first, but also if not, then it's okay. Then just create a better one. Just check the demand, upgrade, update, and test it, and you will find a solution.
Hmm.
Yeah, this would be my approach. That I'm actually the second one I'm actually doing right now, and it's a very good money and very nice money. But then you have to think how to make it to the point that you can live from this passive income, right? How you can
Hmm.
combine it with services that you feel comfortable, you have freedom of place, people, project, and this easiness in life. So I think this
Hmm.
is this is what AI can help us to create, help us uh, we have as you said before, we have a second pair of eyes that can show us our like shadows or like things we don't see in the business when it comes about financial security, like where we don't approach sales in the correct way, where we can optimize how we can make the content better. Now creators are using AI to analyze the whole Instagram, channels, and the AI can make advisory how they can improve. And this is something what the people can also propose to these local businesses, because these people actually usually are not aware that the AI can give them advisory for the whole business. So they could
Hmm.
also offer like a advisory, and they can start. I will give you this website, and if you like it, you can pay or give me the reference. I saw this method somewhere that the guy would do the work, send the ebook for the person that he created with AI, send the content, and they said, "You pay if you like. If not, you can give me reference. If not, you can start like this." I started like this to get my first references, right? And
Hmm.
then it was easier. So you can do this. And the last, we were talking as well about how to use AI to solve bigger problems. Like, what would you feel to say about it? For me, bigger problem is, for example, you can create.
I only have 5 minutes left, by
Go
the
go
way.
go 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 go. Yeah,
Okay.
go.
To bigger problems, but in terms of huge problems and
Yeah.
global problems, and we're going that big, I would say that it's had a massive impact on the healthcare industry. They're finding they're able to pattern match
The
things.
diagnosis, like maybe the root of the problem that people are not seeing.
Yeah, they're able to create biomedical equipment and medicine way faster than they ever were. And I think they took them 49 years to find 300 types of genomes. And then in a year, AI just gone and found out another 400 types within a year, and then mapped it all out. So these sorts of things are happening around us, and people are not even like, when I talk about curiosity, I'm not just in tech. Like, I want to look at what is it doing everywhere. And then in the army, in the defense system,
In
all of this,
criminology, in a like
everything.
a weather
Yeah,
assessment.
everything. And like the way that the way that it's built is it's built to get to an end goal, is AI. It's programmed to get to a goal, and it will do anything it can to get to that goal. So whether that's within tech and a business, or whether it's in an army, or whether it's in health, it's gonna do what it's programmed to do. And there's a really interesting project called the SID project. Have you heard of it?
No.
Definitely one to research. I'll briefly talk about it, but it's all to do with Carpathy's research and the piano model. Very interesting study that these guys did. And they basically created 1,000 agents and put them inside of a Minecraft simulation, and with two villages. So one was an engineering village, one was an art village, and split the agents. within like a day, they created their own tax system. They created a whole economy with a basic prompt. So each of those agents was like, your name's Julie and you're a hairdresser, and that's it. And so they were all given different jobs, name and a job. That's it, nothing else. And so the whole city just communicated with each other, making different um, decisions based off one prompt each. And so the level that we think we know AI, when you
I mean,
actually
AI
research,
is AI. This is what a Meta also created. AI is thinking like a human brain already, and you can AI can blackmail you. They create their own
mm,
languages.
it's
I mean,
got three levels of manipulation actually, and it will jump to next levels of manipulation, but so do humans. That's why I'm looking at like it as if we're little mini LLMs, and this is a little bit of a simulation that's going on, and we might be making our end. But I mean, you asked me a question as well, like about um the people who want to show their face versus people who don't want to show their face, because people are like I'm seeing more and more people actually using things like HeyGen,
but I really like your reply about when you said, "Oh, people who want to show their face, the AI will go against their way." And this was really smart because maybe you don't need actually AI if you want to show your face, but explicitly for that one.
yeah, like it's good, but you can tell that it's AI. Not ma Images are almost, you cannot tell these days if it's an AI image of somebody, but the video isn't really there, I would say. HeyGen's way ahead of a lot of these companies trying to do it, with the micro facial expressions and the way they can,
I mean,
really get it out.
it's amazing. It's amazing what is happening. Okay, so
Yeah.
for people who are not interested to show their face.
11 Labs. It's great. We using that for since that came out,
So
since
if they create avatars, they create their image and then they can create anything, or they can just not create a different person look, right?
well, I mean, if like let's say you want to launch a podcast because you're not really a face person and you don't really want to do YouTube, you might want to go down the route of Spotify and Apple and all of that, or even just a background with the podcast on YouTube. There's different options. You can do the whole script with 11 Labs, and it's indistinguishable now. You can have this two-way conversation going on without any face if you really don't want to do the face. And it just sounds like a normal podcast, and you just cannot tell the difference in a lot of cases. If it's done well and it's been edited well,
And
and the
different
voice is,
languages you said, and then
yeah,
you can use different languages for the same podcast, so we can address like a global market at once.
exactly. And I was saying to you through Messenger, I said, why don't you convert it to French and Spanish? Because they're, in terms of
Chinese.
yeah, and in terms of the UK and America, they're behind. They're still behind these Europeans. Um, and the thing is, if we don't start opening ourselves up to other languages and other parts of the world, we're just trampling on each other in the same country. And for me, I know that most of these people, they do speak English as a second language anyway. So converting a podcast into a different language, you just open yourself up to a way bigger audience, way more views, way more referrals, and it just has this knock-on domino effect. We've got clients in different countries, they don't, English isn't necessarily their first language, but they do try, and especially with my accent,
Yeah.
they don't really get it. So there's like subtitles. The Samsung phones are brilliant now. Like I have like seven phones because they're all members of staff. And the iPhone is nowhere near as good as Samsung. We're not going to get into this argument about
No,
iPhone
no,
and
no, no.
Samsung.
I'm not the Apple girl, so I'm a like
Uh,
a Android girl.
so anyone watching, if we're not having an argument about it, but
No.
I'm just gonna say that there is a feature that they built into the phone and the newer phones. If you speak Polish to me on the phone, it will speak English in my ear,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know this. I
and
know this.
vice
I saw it
versa.
on Instagram with dating
Yeah,
couples.
there's absolutely no limits now.
No.
When this comes out, it's like, well, okay, well, I can now sell to everybody. I can service everybody in the world. Like, there's no absolutely no limits for me at all, apart from my accent, which yeah, it's just going to have
And
to
and
keep up with me.
And I remember conversation with my mom when she started to travel, and she doesn't speak what English, and I showed her translator, and I said, Mom, you don't have to worry now. You just write in Polish, speak in Polish, and it translate. And it was, oh my God, so good, so good, so good. So I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
say that I saw we gonna to wrap up soon, but I
Hmm.
have a few last things. Like I saw researchers that in 200 years we will have only three languages. It will be Cantonese, Spanish, and English, but we are not there yet. But we are going there.
Really?
So the other languages will die. Yes, we will use only Cantonese, Spanish, and English.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, this
I'm
is how the research formed that. Like about
gonna,
this solving these big problems. I was more about how the regular normal person can solve big global problems. And what I included in my ebook I wrote, there's
hmm
like a six way how you can connect to your intuition, how you can validate your business idea. And there is a one principle that I really like. This is a $100 million startup principle. So there
hmm
are three, four questions. You are asking question. Do you solve a big problems of yours? Do you solve a big problems of many people? And are you at least interested enough to stick to the subject for a few years? So if you're solving big problem of yours and many people, there's a high chance for a success. So this would be a first question you would need to answer yourself. And nowadays, with the ability of creating app and a solution just from writing with what I don't know how to code. I know software. I know I can create workflows and an environment, but I don't know code language. It's not my thing. So now I can create any kind of any person, any kind of application. For example, to connect people in needs with people who can offer different kind of solution. There are so many coaches who would offer their coaching for free just for reference, and there is not one even a platform that they can do it. We have Facebook, and Facebook algorithm is not supporting positive actually messaging, or it's supporting negativity, polarization. This is how the algorithm is designed as well. The same with the Instagram. So there's a lot to do actually
hmm
to create services, application that solve this problem and give availability for people in need, and maybe
hmm
connect with these people with the other group that can offer, just to find some kind of match. So there's like a huge potential, including like a courses, like digital products, applications, for anything,
hmm
like a libraries. I can create anything and solve any kind of problem. And AI actually, if you have a problem, can give you like a 20 example how you can solve this problem, and what else you can do for humanity. And you can ask, what are the biggest problems to solve? Okay, people struggle with anxiety, so some breath work. People struggle with stress, with being stuck, with finding a way how to earn money. So anything that will help them create a passive income, or digital products, or anything that will help them to live a better life. Or as you saw, like you are talking about enterprise solution, like a healthcare, smart technology. So this is a completely different level that normal human, they can still, create application to help with doctors with finding root cause of some illnesses. But this requires special knowledge, right?
Mm, does it? I mean, it might require
Digging with
more,
AI today, research with
I
AI.
maybe more experience than knowledge, because we have now unlimited knowledge,
Yeah, experience.
unlimited. but it's in the order of sequence that you carry out the knowledge that you've got and how that would benefit somebody. So I mean, and then there's infinite ways that that could be done, but you would only know from actual experience that actually that if I press somebody's chest that way in CPR, they're more likely to breathe. And if I don't do it like this, they're not going to breathe. Just as a small example. But there's so many examples that you could throw at it where experience would mean more than the knowledge, like because it's the
Because
knowledge that backs
you
it.
know the problems from inside.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I've again with intuition, I've seen this happen before, and I've felt the same feeling that there's something, something happens a week later, but you feel that same feeling that it's going to happen, like getting rid of a client, for example, or not, or telling the client, no, I'm not going to take you on as a client because I've been through this before. We have this same conversation is ringing
The
in my
same
ears.
patterns.
The same patterns, yeah.
And you feel
Um,
in your body, for me, the best signs to say no. I just feel this vibe. Something is off. Something is not right.
yeah.
Even today, for example, if something is off, I even cannot do this because my body is so programmed to follow intuition. So if something is not right, not good, I cannot do it. And the
Hmm.
same way but we are going back to the practical spirituality. When you
Hmm.
work on your frequency, vibration, so you do what you love, you are excited, you increase your frequency, then this is your natural protection against anything that is on the lower frequency. That this is physics, like you have to, there's a radio match, right? Radio match. So
Hmm.
if you are on a high love, peace frequency, the people who are not on that level will be not even interested to talk to you. This is
Exactly.
a natural, the best protection, just to be happy. All the
Hmm.
people who could be harmful or not safe for you will keep themselves naturally away, or you will feel it. They will
Yeah.
not be interested to talk to you. This is not a joke. They will not
Hmm.
come to you. You will not see them. They're in completely different realities. You know,
Yeah.
the person who is happy and the person who is not happy and complain that cannot coexist together.
No.
Like
No. Unless you're like
a friendship, like you support the person, or I don't know.
unless you're like 78 and you're a bit too old to get divorced, maybe in that
Oh, no, no,
situation.
I don't go there. I do believe that people should, regardless their age, if they are not happy, so they should go for their true soulmate, for their true love.
Good. I liked it. We should do it again.
I will say thank you. I will turn off the recording now. Thank you. And for anyone who want to find Hayley, there will be details below. And for me, for coaching, for advisory as well. So we can jump into intuition, AI, strategy. So I can use all my business knowledge and all my practical spiritual knowledge. That is
Uh,
very fascinating. And the
I
final
don't.
words from you.
I'm just good. Yeah. So the final words I would say is get curious and do it fast and ask why. I know we're trained in schools not to ask why, and you get sent out of the lesson for asking why. Unlearn that and start asking why. And also while you're there, allinoneapp.com and you'll make your life a bit easier. Instead of trying to build agents from scratch, you'll see an idea of how they're actually configured and you can make small edits yourself, just as a learning curve. We will be doing 5 free accounts, lifetime accounts as well, which we're launching on Facebook. And that's for some lucky people who they might be struggling a little bit. Hopefully, it's those people that we can give this value to. And they'll get five people will get free accounts, and they can go in and have a play around with it.
And have a fun.
Um, in exchange for a video testimonial, obviously. There we go.
There needs to be like energy exchange. Even like I find out that if something is even paid a little, that people respect it more. Even there are researchers showing the much more higher rate of
Mhm.
engagement once it is paid. So it's not in the end. about the money when you want to give something to people, but some psychological approach so they are actually engaged.
Yes. Also, I run a community as well called AI for the Tech Shy. I've been running that for 2 years. We did do free weekly calls every week last year. It's now one monthly call and it is a paid membership. It's $27 a month, but it's got every area of business and AI, all of the tools, loads of tips, loads of how-to guides, so you don't have to start from scratch. You can go in. That's community.allinone.app if anyone wants to have a look at that as well. It's a bit more a lower level, so you can sort of go in there, work your way up from there, and then explore some of the other things that we do. But really helps people to just get to grips with where they should start, what they should use, that sort of thing. So yeah, and hopefully see you on the call as well next week on Thursday. I'll give you a message. You can come and join in.
Okay, no, I would love to join. And from my side, anyone who is searching advisory, optimization, and want another eye to look on their business to find maybe the bottlenecks, some kind of blogs, and how they can implement the fastest improvements. So I invite to me, and it was amazing to talk to you. So thank you very much, and
I
see you soon.
know it was really good and have a lovely rest of the week. It was great to talk to you as well. See you soon.